Now, here are your hosts, Janet Hickox and Roger Wetzel.
Hello, I'm Janet Hickox.
And I'm Roger Wetzel, and welcome to Empower You TV. Over the past several months, we've had some really great guests. So, Janet, why don't you talk about those guests before we introduce our current guest today?
Over the last several months, Roger and I have been interviewing several different types of healers. We started a couple of months back with Susan Powell, who did Access Consciousness and bars. And then we also talked with Dr. Larry Berkelhammer about the body-mind connection.
And we talked to Susan Powell. Susan Powell. Yeah, we did talk to Susan Powell. And we also talked to Michelle Burns about self-love. And who else have we talked to? I can't remember. Oh, there's been so many.
We have had several actual different types of healers on, and today's no exception. Today we're going to be moving into a little bit different type of healing called healing from the heart. And a lot of the healing type people that we've talked to, Roger, are really using some form of skill that they've learned in terms of sort of matching the body and the mind and the spirit.
Right.
And our guest today is going to take us into a little bit different territory, kind of healing perhaps by letting go of some of the things in your outer world, things like clutter or items from your past that no longer hold really any meaning, but are energetically holding on to some kind of power over you. So, and then, I should just mention that if you are wanting to listen to some of the other interviews that we've done, you can do so by going to www.empoweryoumedia.com. And on the homepage, there are all of the different videos that we've shot over the last several months, including Susan Powell and Dr. Berkelhammer and others, too
Jeremy
numerous to
Ayers.
name at the moment.
Jeremy Ayers was a good
Yeah,
interview, too. Yeah,
yeah, that was a great
osteopath.
interview. Yeah, an osteopath and the director of Naturally Better Healing Centers, which is a branch of Naturally Better TV, or I should say Naturally Better TV is a branch, and that is ultimately who we are going to be broadcasting our show through. So some exciting things there. So take a look at our website. In the meantime, let me introduce you to our guest today. Her name is Diane Light. Hello, Diane. Are you there?
I'm here.
She is in her
Welcome,
living
Diane.
color.
Hi, Roger. Hi, Janet.
Hello, we're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Diane Light created Healing from the Heart in an effort to bring the awareness to the collective consciousness that the new paradigm is all about the heart, the center of all things. In order to clear emotions on the inside, Diane looks first to the clutter and stuff that is surrounding the person on the outside. A completely unique way, by the way, of looking at healing compared to some of the other interviews that we've done over the last several months. Sometimes it's not so much about getting rid of things as about finding an organized place for them to live. The emotional connection with stuff occupies our minds and creates a stuckness that can keep us from moving forward. This is not the bio. Diane began at a very early age to see the relationship between people, places, and things. Born in the Midwest, her gypsy nature kicked in at 17 when her family moved to North Central, Arkansas. Later, Diane anchored herself in the Pacific Northwest for 23 years, where she ran several businesses and raised her two precious daughters, Ukoya and what's the other one? Chelsea, yes. And now you have two grandchildren as well. Is that right? Yeah. So Diane is a multifaceted and multi-talented woman who is a master at creating healing environments. The spaces she creates resonate at all levels of love, the physical, the spiritual, emotional, healing, beautiful, tranquil, creative, open-ended. She excels at whatever tasks are at hand, making those people with whom she works comfortable and empowered. Whether you are clearing clutter in your home, your business, your life, or in your mind, Diane can help you make those changes. Diane also has a diploma in esoteric medicine and is certified in several other healing modalities. I hope we get time today to get to some of those. And she's also an ordained minister and enjoys the study of physics and quantum physics. She loves to dance and create art. She has been called a free spirit. She currently lives in the Phoenix area and travels where she is needed to fulfill the role of light worker. Impressive, Diane.
What are you talking about? No.
And who is that masked woman?
It's so funny to listen to somebody read your bio. It's really funny.
Yeah, I think I messed it up a little bit, but who cares, right? The thing is that you are so qualified at what you do, and you've had multiple experiences and multiple different healing modalities. But today we're really going to talk about the healing from the heart. But before we get to that, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to the point where you are doing healing from the heart.
I think it was a lot of field work. I think that Spirit put me in this place where it all happened to me, and because I've lived my whole life in transition, it seems like. I've always been some kind of transformation. Now when I tell my daughters, how you doing, Mom? Well, I'm in this transformation. When are you not in a transformation? So, it's time now to, as we experience those things, to take it to people and help them. I got through it. If I can get through it, anybody can get through it. So, I didn't really think of myself as a person who moved around a lot until we moved to Arkansas. And then after that, there was like, no, the Rolling Stone doesn't carry any moss or gather any moss kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I didn't like being in a place. It just seemed like there was always a place that I needed to go to do something, to help.
Something calling you away or calling you into a new place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was 17, 18, 19, I hitchhiked a lot, and that was in the 70s. It was really cool to hitchhike, and you had good experience. And I got picked up by truckers a lot, which was a really good ride because they had something to lose. So they never messed with you as a woman, they never messed with me. So I liked getting picked up by the semi-truckers, and they were so interesting. But within about 5 minutes, they would turn and ask me every single ride, have you ever been to the Washington or Oregon? No. Oh, you need to go there because you'd fit in really well there. And what is he talking about? So from the time I was 19, I was trying to get to Washington, and I finally made Washington. I started in 1977 to go to Washington and didn't make it. I ended up in Estes Park, Colorado, where I ended up getting married and having my first daughter, Yakoya. And then in 1989, I finally made it to Anacortes, Washington, and I was there for 23 years. And I understand now that the huge transformation that took place, the bigger picture, had to take place there. With Anacortes and the Pacific Northwest being the old energy of Lemurian energy. I recognized, and I was able to tap back into my Lemurian energy and my Lemurian healing techniques. So that's kind of where that all started to take place. And I think it just took 23 years for that to happen, because as I would meet people and they'd be going to Hawaii and they'd be going to South America and Dominican Republic to open up centers or to do this kind of work or that kind of work, I'd be like, okay, Spirit, when do I get to go? And I kept hearing, no, you have to stay here and anchor the light. So when I finally in 2010 heard it's time to go, and then 2011 actually was told to get rid of everything. And I had a stained glass studio that I'd been carrying around with me. I had, 23 years of stuff. And I didn't really have a lot of stuff, but at the time I had a spiritual center. So I had a building that was filled with stuff that I'd put in there, other people had given me. It was
books and crystals. You had tons of stuff in that building.
Tons of books. Huge library.
Mm-hmm.
My friend John, when he passed, I inherited his library, and then people started giving me books. So I had a huge library. And so it was like, get rid of everything. So I remember in May, in 2011, we had a garage sale over Memorial Weekend, and it went for 5 days. And what we did was we started putting stuff out by the street on a big table. We just started putting stuff out there, and we'd hear in the middle of the night, doors opening, doors closing.
I hope you put it out there for free, right?
Yeah, we put it out there for free, and people were stopping and picking stuff up, and it was so exciting in the morning to see what they got. It was like,
what are people dabbing?
Yeah, like, what did they get today? Oh, they went for the Christmas stuff. Oh, that's cool. So it was an incentive for us. We just kept putting stuff out there. So we gave a lot of things away. It was a lot of fun. And then never mind. And so anyway, so that kind of started this whole thing of letting go and releasing, and the freedom and the lightness that I felt was really amazing. And so then I didn't know where we were going. We took off and we traveled around, and we ended up stopping in Sun City West to visit a friend who was here with her mother, and we both liked it. So we went on to my partner at the time, we went on to California and stayed there till June 9th. And then we came back here and we just really liked it. And so we ended up staying here. Mm-hmm. And after being here about a year, I realized that spirit, the universe is brilliant in its planning with us. It took 23 years for me to anchor my understanding of truth and be fully present who I am before I came here to this state. So let me tell you a little story. From the time I was 10, I started saying things to my mother that would indicate that I was an awakened being. And it freaked my mom out. Didn't know how to handle that at all. So she would always shut me down. Be quiet, don't say those things, or what are you talking about? You're 10 years old. How would you know that?
Like, give us an example. Like, what would you say to your mom?
Well, in the 60s, they never said the word cancer. They would say, they would mouth it. And so finally I said to my mom one day at 10, what is the big deal with cancer? Don't say that word. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Mom? It's just stress. It's too much stress in that part of the body. That's all it is.
And you're 10 telling your mother this.
And I'm 10 and she's like, what are you talking about? How do you know that? Shut up. She was freaked out. So I just kept getting shut down and shut down. I grew up in a fundamentalist church, and my grandfather was a Church of Christ preacher. Had been for 55 years. And I can remember going to that church and in vacation Bible school and asking questions, which you don't really do in that church. So I remember them telling my parents, I think there's a place that she would rather be in the summer. I got kicked out of vacation Bible school, for God's sake. So I just kept getting shut down. And in 1990, I opened a stained glass studio and an art gallery in Anacortes. And I was in my studio, and my husband at the time told me to stop. I'm in Lemurian energy, so I'm opening up again. I'm starting to open up to the possibilities and love and all this stuff. And he's like, you can't be talking like that to people. He's an atheist agnostic. So it's like, you can't be talking to people like that. They're gonna freak out. You're gonna run our business off. So I'm thinking, okay, I get that. And all right, I won't do that. So I'm in my store, and I would be doing stained glass windows in the back. And when somebody would come into my store, I had a little beeper thing, and I would go out and always greet them, tell them, look around. If they need anything, I'll be in the back. So I go out there, and here's this woman, and she's got this long gray white hair, and salt and pepper kind of hair. She had a soul. But it was long, and she had this flowy, silky. It was like she had all these silk scarves tied to her. She just flowed when she walked, right? And she came over and she was looking at something, and I greeted her, and then we started talking, and she said something, and I said, oh my goodness, I got goosebumps. And she looked at me and she said,